Hi everyone, and welcome back to Fully Playable Games. So on today's video we are going to be going over all of the updates that we've had over the last day or so about the Switch 2. So I did put out a video yesterday where I reacted to the whole Nintendo Direct that they put out. I'll put that up in one of the top corners, so if you haven't seen it you can jump over and have a look at that. But before we get into everything, let's do a quick rundown on sort of what we actually found out in that Nintendo Direct. So obviously the Switch 2 has now been confirmed. That was confirmed a couple of months ago. But now we do have a release date for it. So it's actually going to be released on the 5th of June. In the Direct, they didn't go over pricing or pre-order details, but that has subsequently been released on the Nintendo website. So we're going to go over that in this video. They did announce some of the games as well as some upgrade options as well. And yeah, there looks to be some good games coming out, but there's a lot of questions around their sort of update policy. And once again, I'll cover that a bit more in detail when we get to that bit of the video. And yeah, there was some hardware. They obviously went into a bit more details of the Switch, the actual console itself and the docking station. So unlike the previous versions of the Switch docking station, this one will actually have an inbuilt fan to actually help keep the Switch console cool while it's actually in the dock. They went into a bit more detail as well about the Joy-Cons and more so the connectivity with the Switch. So we all knew that they were basically using magnets, but Nintendo actually showed you in detail the magnet setup on the Switch. So what will basically happen is you will have the magnet in the actual console itself, and the sort of metal points that they're going to be anchoring to on the actual Joy-Con are the Z buttons on top, which, yeah, a lot of people, including myself, have basically been saying how that is going to just lead to failure. Because if you think you've got these buttons, they're being used as anchor points and they're being pulled. Every time you pull that Joy-Con off, that button's being pulled and being put under tension. So yeah, I think we're going to have more problems with the Switch 2 Joy-Con than we did have with the normal Switch Joy-Cons. But only time will tell with that. As I say, I am by nowhere near a product engineer, so you know what I mean, they might have been able to do something that will improve it. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. So let's switch over to the PC screen and we'll have a look at the actual website itself. So when you come onto the website, you get your nice big picture of the Switch. And now we've got our date. So available the 5th of June 2025. I will admit I am on the American website here, just purely because this seems to be updated, where when I looked at the UK one earlier on, it hadn't been updated yet. They did also go into a bit more detail on the Joy-Con, where it's got this C button. So there's a whole new chat feature that they're going to be releasing on Switch 2. I think during the Direct I actually referred to it as Nintendo Teams. So yeah, we've got that. Obviously, we knew that there was a new Mario Kart coming as well. That has now been confirmed as Mario Kart World. And then here we go. This is game chat. So this is what will use the C button on the Joy-Con. And as you'll see here, you've basically got your screen here, and then the four other people within the chat. So yeah, it's essentially Nintendo Teams is the best way to describe it. And then just next to it, you'll just see actually there is the new Switch camera as well. So I will admit, when the Direct was going on and I saw the Nintendo Teams, because I prefer Nintendo Teams over game chat. When I saw the game chat being spoke about, I was like, okay, so they're setting that up for a camera, maybe later on down the line. One bit I did cast doubt, one thing that they said in the Direct, which I am sorry, I don't agree, I think they've well oversold it, is the microphone. So what they're actually saying is there's a microphone built into the top of the Switch 2, and that will be able to be used for game chat. But you'll be able to have it underneath the TV while you're sitting on the couch. It will clearly pick up your voice. It will filter out the game sound. It will filter out environmental sounds and all the sounds around you. And yeah, I will admit, I just think that they have massively oversold that, because personally, I've never seen a noise cancelling setup that is that good. So yeah, once again, only time will tell, but that is probably the one thing out of the whole Direct that I do cast doubt over. Then obviously we've got the console itself, bigger screen, same thickness. What I did find throughout the Direct is that they were very much doing a comparison to the original Switch. There was no mention of the OLED at all, obviously because the console is essentially the same size as the OLED. But I will admit some of the features that they were telling about on the Switch 2 were good. So you'll see here, play with greater detail and clarity thanks to a high-definition LCD display, featuring support for HDR, VRR, which I don't know what that is, and up to 120 frames per second for compatible games. Then we've got the dock. Obviously, once the system is docked, you can actually display resolutions up to 4K. That's 4K 60, but we'll go into the specs in a bit more on the next tab. They're loving showing off this kickstand, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Hence why they've actually designed the Switch around this kickstand. So with the Switch 2, there's actually two USB-C ports on it, one in at the bottom in the normal position. They've also put one up the top as well. And the idea is the one up the top can be used for plugging in accessories or charging the Switch while you've got it in what they're calling tabletop mode. So yeah, it's a good idea. Don't get me wrong, I definitely like the idea, but it just seemed to have put a lot of features in around the sort of kickstand usage. It might well be that I don't really use mine in sort of kickstand mode that often. I think the only other time that I've really done it is if I've been playing the Switch on a lunch break in the office. So you got the new stand, and I think I said this on the Direct. I think with the new kickstand, it's a step backwards. I think the kickstand that they put on the OLED, which was like a whole panel across the back, was so much better. So I don't know why they've gone for this sort of cutout option with the Switch 2. Yeah, it is what it is. As I say, that's just personal preference with that. Once again, you've got your Joy-Cons, so they'll pair as soon as you connect them to the device. What they did show in the Direct actually as well is it's not going to be a case of just pulling the Joy-Cons off. There is actually a release button on the back of the controller for releasing the Joy-Cons. So yeah, it kind of sort of negates the need for the magnets, but yeah, that's how they've basically done it. Obviously we've got the Joy-Cons will also act as mice as well, which was actually shown off in the Direct in a couple of different ways. I think the one that I was most excited about was in FPSs. So that showed you someone playing Metroid Prime, and they literally had one controller, one Joy-Con, sorry, that they were using for sort of movement and everything like that. And then the other Joy-Con they actually had in mouse mode and was using that to aim the gun. And I think that is definitely something I'd love to see other developers of first-person shooters adopt for the Switch 2. I think that would be absolutely brilliant. Then, as we said earlier on, we've got the C button for the game chat. There's a better image of the Switch camera. And what I have done, so what I have said is the game chat will require you to have a Nintendo Online subscription in order to use. But what they're going to be doing is for the first sort of 8 months, I think it is, they're going to be allowing it without a Nintendo Online account. So up until the 31st of March 2006, you'll be able to use Game Chat without having a Nintendo Online subscription. And then here we go. We've got the different modes. So we've got TV mode and handheld mode, which are ones that we're used to. And then they've obviously introduced this tabletop mode as well. And then there is going to be a specific type of memory card that you need to use. So what we'll do is at the end, we'll jump on somewhere like Amazon and see what the cost difference is in the card. So yeah, micro SD Express. So your standard SD card, the standard micro SD card that you use in your current Switch won't work. And if you want to transfer data from your Switch 1 or OLED Switch over to your Switch 2, you're going to have to use the data transfer service that Nintendo have built into the console. In addition, Nintendo Switch Nintendo Switch 2 plays compatible Nintendo Switch games. Once again, we've got a bit more detail on that as well, so we'll go into that in a little while. Then just quickly looking at some of the tech specs. So obviously the screen is full HD, 120 hertz, 7.9 inch. It's got an internal storage of 256 gig, which is really good. A portion for the storage is reserved for system. So yeah, I would expect you to have access to probably around the 200 gig mark. I'll be very surprised if it's anything more than that. Video output. So this is the important one. So output via HDMI is a maximum of 4K at 60 frames per second. There is support for 120 frames per second in either HD or 2K resolutions. With our selected supports HDR10 as well. And then here we go. Maximum resolution in tabletop is full HD. And handheld mode, which is just following the screen resolution size, so that's fine. So yeah, they did sort of highlight as well about a surround sound effect in the Direct. So that could be output into headphones or the built-in speakers. Surround sound effect when output into built-in speakers requires a system update. Surely it would come with that update. Okay. As I say, we've got the built-in microphone, noise cancelling, echo cancellation, and auto gain control provides a more comfortable voice chat experience. Once again, I'm still doubtful about how well that will work. The only buttons on the Switch itself are the power and volumes. Game card slot for both both cards. And here we go. So compatible with micro SD Express cards up to 2 terabytes. So yeah, actually really good from a storage perspective. But as I say, if you're transferring from an old Switch to a new Switch, even if you've got a memory card, you're still going to have to use the data transfer sort of option within the Switch. And then obviously we've got the dock. The dock is very much, apart from looking different, connection like port wise, it's exactly the same as the OLED Switch dock. So it's got USB-C, HDMI, and an RJ45 network port. And we've got all the details about the Joy-Cons. So approximately 20 hours of battery life. Yeah, charging time 3.5 hours. We're going to have new straps as well, and then a new grip. So I'm assuming, just like the other Switches, the grip and the straps will be bundled in with the consoles. Then we get to the bit that I am very, very disappointed about in Nintendo. So as well as advertising the prices, we've now also got details on the pre-orders. So for the standard Switch bundle, it's going to be £395.99. For the bundle that includes Mario Kart World, and I might add that that's Mario Kart World as a digital download, there's no physical kart in this bundle, is £429. And I'll be honest, if you're going for digital, That's actually a really good deal. And I'll go into why in a minute once we get to some of the prices. But with regards to the pre-orders, this is where I think Nintendo have really let the fans down. So pre-orders for Nintendo Switch 2 console will open on My Nintendo Store on the 8th of April. To reward the most dedicated Nintendo Switch players in Europe and the UK, the opportunity to pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2 from My Nintendo Store will initially be offered on an invite-only basis to select Nintendo Switch online members. Below you'll find more information. Just here, initial invitees will be selected based on the following criteria. Nintendo Switch Online membership status. Has been a Nintendo Switch Online member for at least 2 years consistently by the 31st of the 3rd, 2025. With an active membership on the day that the pre-order is placed. For family memberships, the person who purchased the membership will be eligible. Other people in the family membership will not be eligible. So I'm assuming from that, you'll only be able to pre-order one Nintendo Switch. From that respect, it's good. But the fact that they've locked it down in this way, I just don't like. The next criteria they're going to be looking at is playtime. Has spent a certain amount of time playing purchased/paid Nintendo Switch games, prioritising those with more playtime. Sharing usage information with Nintendo. And has opted to share usage information with Nintendo to customise offers and recommendations. That to me is disgusting. It really is. You're only going to be allowed to pre-order with us unless you give us the information that we want from you. Yeah. And then the final one is receive email messages from Nintendo. Has opted to receive promotional emails and messages from Nintendo and will be opted in on the day the invitation is sent. So that I don't have a problem with. That is basically just signed up to their mailing list, which I am. I get the emails. But the fact that their criteria for being allowed to pre-order a Nintendo Switch is that you've spent the last 2 years paying for an online subscription and that you are sharing your basically your data with them. Yeah, I absolutely. I know why they're doing it. They're doing it to try and sort of curb scalpers, but yeah, I just think it's absolutely disgraceful. One of the worst pre-order requirements that I've ever seen. And yeah, definitely think Nintendo have dropped the ball on this. They were doing so well with all of the bits that they've been announced recently, like especially around sort of like digital games and things like that. I think this is going to be a massive letdown to the fan base. Then we get into the pricing. So Nintendo are actually going to be doing split pricing between physical and digital. So if we look at Mario Kart World here, digital copy will set you back £66.99, and the physical version will have the premium of £74.99. And I'm like, yeah, I am just amazed that they are thinking that. I'll be honest, I want to play Mario Kart World, but not at £75. No way. Considering a lot of the Nintendo, I think the most expensive Nintendo game I bought this year actually is a Nintendo property, and it's the Donkey Kong Country remake. And I think that ended up was about £44. So I'm hoping that what it is these are going to be RRPs from Nintendo. And then once you get to places like Amazon, you're going to get it a bit more reasonable. But we'll just have to wait and see. You'll see there as well, Donkey Kong Bonanza is coming out a bit cheaper. $58.99 for the digital release and $66.99 for the physical release. So, yeah, absolutely just excessive in my eyes. And I don't know. Personally, I would like it if it would affect the sales of the console and things like that, but I don't think it's going to. I think everyone is just so excited for the Switch 2. But yeah, I just don't think that it's going to affect people. I think it is just a way for Nintendo to subtly push people to the digital side without it being overt and them saying, no, we're not doing physical releases anymore. I think they're basically saying sort of like, well, if you want physical, you're going to pay for it. Which, to a certain point, I can agree because it does cost more. But, yeah, it's not a good look. It just really isn't. Then, moving on, we've got the micro SD Express card. This is the Nintendo branded ones. These are always more expensive. $59.99 for a 256 gig memory card. Yeah, once again, I'll be interested to see what these... I'll tell you what we'll do is, after we've looked at this page, we'll jump over. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do it now. While we're talking about it, we might as well. So, micro SD Express. Oh, okay. Right, so a 256 is £80. A 128 is £38. Okay, that doesn't make the Nintendo price as bad. 1 terabyte, £190. We have got the 1 terabyte, so that's just the normal micro SD. That's just an extreme. Right, so it looks of it then, these Express cards are a fairly new type of card. Because there's only 5 on eBay, or on Amazon. So we've got the 1 terabyte, the 512, or 2 512s on here. Both at completely different prices. And obviously I've never heard of Lexar. So I would have immediately looked at the scan disc. So yeah, you're looking at £80 for a standard scan disc 256 card. So actually, that is a really good price. And considering it's a SanDisk as well. Oh, we've got the Samsung as well. Yeah, okay. I will retract my previous statement about that being an expensive card, because it's not. It's actually a really good option. Obviously, the prices of those will come down, so it is just a case of weighing up. Do you need the SD card as soon as you get the console, or can you wait? Then we get onto some of the other accessories. So we've got the Switch 2 camera is $49.99. Personally, I haven't got a problem with that. I think that's actually a really good price for a sort of camera. $58.99 for the GameCube controller for Nintendo Classics. Now, once again, not a problem with that as well. I would quite happily pay that. But Nintendo have to go and ruin it again. So if we actually read the little blurb underneath, the Nintendo GameCube controller, Nintendo Classics, will be exclusively available for Nintendo Switch Online members and will initially only be offered to those invited to pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2 console. So basically what they're saying is that you can only buy it if you're paying a Nintendo online subscription, and if you meet all the criteria to get an invite to pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2, then you will also be allowed to pre-order the GameCube controller. Yeah, I'm really disappointed with how Nintendo are managing these pre-orders, because literally the console and the GameCube controller are two just massive things, and they're literally making you jump through hoops. So even like now, even if I wanted to go and try and get onto the pre-orders, I wouldn't be able to. There'd literally be no way for me to do it, because you need that 2 years of Nintendo Online membership. So yeah, really disappointed with the way that Nintendo are doing this. Yeah, and really disappointed actually about this controller, because essentially now you're not going to get hold of it. So unless you're in that first group, you're not going to get hold of one of these controllers for a decent price. They're going to be snapped up. They're going to be up on eBay for sort of £200 or more, God knows. And then the last accessory that we've got priced for is the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro Controller. So this is $74.99. I'll be honest, I don't know how much the normal Pro Controller goes to. Let's have a quick look before I make a decision, because I've already been proved wrong on prices so far. So there we go. The current Switch 2 Pro Controller, £49.50. So for some reason, the C button on this is garnering another £25. They do, I will admit, I say that they've added the C button, they've added a 2 to the logo, and there's 2 more buttons on the back of the controller. Yeah, I don't feel that is worth the £25 jump, but that's just me. And at the moment as well, we've got no we've got partial confirmation about hardware backwards compatibility, but that is just centered around the Joy-Cons, nothing like the Switch, like the Pro controllers or anything like that. I really do hope the Pro controller is compatible with it. I'll be sort of really disappointed if it's not. And then moving on to the next screen. So we do have a bit more of it. We don't have exact titles, but we do have a bit more insight into the backwards compatibility. So what they were, one of the comments that I did notice in the Direct was the fact that they mentioned selected Switch titles will be compatible. And obviously, this gives us a bit more detail on it. So you see here, we've got 2 columns. We've got the Nintendo games, so that's like the Marios, your Donkey Kongs, your Splatoons, things like that. And looking at this, it's got a full compatibility of about 98%, I'm gauging. 98, 99%. So that's really good. But when we look at the third-party support, so we've currently got about 11% compatibility confirmed. The rest of it is all being tested with either sort of playable in certain parts, issues, or not compatible, probably amassing sort of 2 to 3% there. So, yeah, that will be a good number. So there will be a couple of games that won't be compatible, but in general, majority will be. Obviously, I'm just hoping that over the next sort of 2 months, this blue bar drops a bit more to the bottom, and we don't get any more sort of going up. So, yeah, obviously, the games can be started. They are just being sort of tested a bit more. And then, so during testing, games are started and limited testing is conducted. Compatibility status may change if issues are found. We'll update this page as necessary. Some games require Nintendo Switch Joy-Con controllers to play. So this is where I was saying that we have got confirmation that the original Switch Joy-Cons will work. So I am hopeful that the Switch Pro controller will also work. You'll see here Nintendo games that cannot be played on the Switch 2. So the LaboCon VR kit. So the Nintendo Switch console cannot be inserted into the Toy-Con VR goggles, so the game cannot be played. That's perfectly understandable. That was originally designed for the original Switch, which got a lot smaller screen. You'll probably find that it's also been highlighted that that's not even compatible with the Switch OLED either. Game compatibility issues on the Switch 2. So we've got 2 documents here that they've put up. I'll be honest, I have looked at these documents and they are pretty much just saying testing in progress for everything. So yeah, at the moment there's no real information in there. If you've got a specific game that you're looking for, it might be worthwhile going there and looking it up, but I'll pretty much guarantee it just says testing in progress. Also, because the documents were quite slow to sort of download as well. And then games that require the original Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons to play. So we've got Ring Fit Adventure. Obviously, that's quite an obvious one because the actual ring is designed for the old controllers. 1-2 Switch. I was a bit surprised about this. So 1-2 Switch and everybody 1-2 Switch. Joy-Con. Right, that's why. So the Joy-Con 2 controllers don't include IR motion camera. as a feature on the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con. So it's only possible to play the games using this feature if you wirelessly connect a Nintendo Switch Joy-Con. So, yeah, okay, I can agree with that. I just didn't read it last time. Game Garage. So it also, looking at these, they all seem to be around the IR motion camera. Yeah, accessory, so it doesn't fit in the leg strap. WarioWare movements, IR motion camera. Can you use with the included the Nintendo Switch 2 console cannot be placed in the fishing rod. Yeah, so basically anywhere that you've actually got to slide the Switch in, which is pretty much all of the Labos, it won't work. So yeah, that is, they've given us a bit more information on the backwards compatibility, which is good. Then next up, so we've got a bit of an update on the actual cartridges. So in the Direct, Nintendo did actually point out that the cartridges are exactly the same as the Nintendo Switch. They're just going to be coloured red. But we've also found out about game key cards, as they're being called. So from what I've read online, and don't get me wrong, this has not come from any confirmed sources or anything like that, but this is essentially going to replace the code in a box. And I will say I am actually on board with it. Now, I'll go into a bit more detail why I'm on board in a minute, but let's just have a look at what Nintendo have said about this. So game key cards are different from regular game cards because they don't contain the full game data. Instead, the game key card is your key to downloading the full game to your system via the internet. After it's downloaded, you can play the game by inserting the game key card into your system and starting it up like a standard physical game card. Here's what the game key card packaging will look. So we'll see there, we've got the Switch case, and just like with the code in the box, there's a big bar at the bottom to say game key card. Obviously, that is subject to change. To download the game, obviously you'll need an internet connection and free space on either your Switch or the SD card. And the way that it works is you'll basically insert it into the system, just like a normal game cart. So you'll see there's the red cart that I showed, and it is literally exactly the same as the normal Switch cart. The game itself isn't included on the game key, so you'll have to download it before you can play. When you insert the game key, the key card, sorry, further instructions will be displayed on the home menu. Please follow the instructions to download the game. Please note, to download the game, you must have enough free space on your Switch 2 system memory or cards, SD card. The amount of free space required is indicated on the game key card packaging. So that's a good idea. So obviously you won't then buy a game and then have to do a massive clear out. You'll be able to see whether you have already got the space, or if you then opt to go up buy an extra memory card or something like that. And then step 3, play the game. Once the game is downloaded, you're ready to play. An internet connection is only required when you launch the game for the first time. After this, the game can be started even without an internet connection. However, like regular physical software, the game keycard must be inserted into the system in order to play the game. Now, personally, I think I quite like this because I will admit I never liked the code in a box, purely because just that, it is literally just a code. And then you assign that to your account, and that's it. It's forever on your account. I've done a bit of digging. I cannot see anywhere that it says that the game key cards, once you insert it into a Switch, that then gets linked to your account. So, if that is the case, this is actually a really, really good idea. More so, right, I will clarify this, because for me, I will never get one of these. I might buy one just to sort of see it, but I will never actively seek these out. I'll never buy games like this, purely because they are still digital games. And even though you've gone out, you've bought this game key card, you're still only buying a license. Whereas with the physical game cart, and the game is on the actual cartridge, you still own that game. So like on the current Switch, I've got a handful of games. One that I can think of off the top of my head, Minecraft Story Mode Season 2. Now that, if I want to play that game on the Xbox or the PlayStation, I have to I basically install the first, I think it's 1 or 2 chapters, and then the remaining chapters all have to be downloaded. So basically, after those downloads are deactivated, whether it be the PlayStation Store is shut down, or sort of whoever's got the license for it now, I know obviously Telltale have gone, but whoever's got the license to the Minecraft story games decides to stop allowing people to get hold of it, then that's it. Those games are essentially dead. Whereas my Switch version, it has got the whole series, all episodes, on the cart. That's why that cart actually goes for quite a lot of money. I think it's about £70 that goes for now, just because it's got everything on the cart. So, yeah, from my perspective, I won't ever be... I might pick up one cheap keycard game, just to say that I've got one, but I won't actively be filling out a collection of them. But the way that I see that this is a benefit is that if it doesn't link that game key card to your account, so if, for example, I buy a game and I put it in, download it, install it, play it, get bored of it, and then hand off the cart to the little one or a friend, or even trade it in at somewhere like CEX, that then basically is allowing me to pick up the game. Now, obviously, normally the code in the box games are cheaper. So I would hope that that would also reflect in the game key cards. I really hope that this isn't going to be adopted as sort of standard for the console. If it is, the console isn't going to be as successful as the original. It really isn't. If you're that's been my main concern about this, is that all developers are then going to start releasing all their games as game key cards, and yeah, to me that will just make the Switch 2 a paperweight. It will be completely redundant to me, and it's not something that I'm going to be interested in. But if it's used like it is now, where the code in a box is an alternative, or it's an option for developers that don't necessarily have the money to produce physical carts, then yeah, I can actually get behind it, because it's potentially giving people the option to be able to sell that game on at a later date. As I say, at the moment, we don't know what how these function. Whether they actually link that game to your account, or if it is a sort of physical digital hybrid, in which, if it's a physical digital hybrid, it'll be a really good idea. But yeah, I am waiting to see what they do with this. Then what do we got? Right, so yeah, this was something I wanted to cover as well. So obviously they have also outlined their upgrade policy. So essentially, there's a whole raft of games that are going to have Switch 2 upgrades made to them. You'll see here we've got a couple. So one of the ones that I covered quite extensively was Mario Party Jamboree. So we've got a whole load of updates here. And if we read this bit here, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of a game is a bundle that includes the original game and its upgrade pack, which enhances the game to take advantage of the capabilities of the Nintendo Switch 2 system. Available for only available for selected games. Contents and enhancements of the upgrade packs vary by game. This can include visual enhancements, new features, or additional game modes. Features and content of the Switch 2 edition games can only be played on the Switch 2. Yeah, fully understand that. And then if you already have an original Switch 2 game, as either a physical or a digital version, you can upgrade to the Switch 2 edition by purchasing the game's upgrade pack from the Nintendo eStore, My Nintendo Store, or retailers. After you upgrade, the original Nintendo game can still be played on a Nintendo Switch, although the features and content for the Switch 2 edition can only be played on the Switch 2. So, yeah, totally agree with that. Got no problems with that. And I think that's a good idea. Obviously, the big thing is they are going to be a chargeable upgrade. So unlike with things like the PlayStation and the Xbox, where the developers had the choice as to whether to make it a free upgrade or a charged upgrade, this is going to be, from what it's seeming, charged across the board. So if we look, so as I say, we've got Mario Party Jamboree, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Kirby the Forgotten Lands, and then Pokemon Legends ZA and Metroid Prime 4. So I want to more look at the Switch games first. So a lot of them I've been seeing. So like the Legend of Zelda, for example, this is one where I think is going to be to me, it don't warrant the upgrade. So support for the Zelda Notes game-specific service via Nintendo Switch app. Essentially, and I think I said it in the Direct. Essentially, a sat nav for Link while you're playing through the game. Improved frame rates and resolution. So basically, graphical enhancements, faster load times. That shouldn't be locked behind a paywall as far as I'm concerned. And HDR support. Once again, that's a graphical upgrade. So for me, there's no benefit to that. But what I am worried about is the fact that Nintendo are pushing for the upgrade packs for these games. Does that then mean that if I then just try to play Tears of the Kingdom on my Switch 2, it will block me until I buy that upgrade pack? So at the moment, we don't have any confirmation on how the upgrade packs are going to be working. And Nintendo have been very careful not to mention anything about if you don't want to buy the upgrade. There's been no mention of it, so we don't know anything about that. Also, we don't know what these upgrade packs are costing. It has been said that they are different prices for different games. So yeah, that is. I've got a lot of concerns around this upgrade program that they're doing. I just think that it's potentially, even though they say games are backwards compatible, I think it's going to be. I think there's a lot they're not telling us about this, and I think there's going to be a couple of surprises going along. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm really hoping I am. I'm hoping it's very much going to be like the PlayStation and the Xbox, whereas you can just play the standard version and there's no qualms about it. You just crack on. The two that I think are going to be a bit of a... So, like, these are new games that are going to be coming out after the Switch 2 releases. So, personally, I'm going to be getting both of these games. But I'm not going to be getting them on the Switch. I will wait, and if it means that I don't get them on their day of release, then fine. I'll get them later on down the line. But I'm not going to buy them on the Switch, especially not Pokemon. After the last two Pokemon games that have had absolutely shocking performance on the Switch, I'm only buying the new Pokemon game on the Switch 2. Metroid Prime 4, obviously there's some bits that I saw in the Direct, such as that mouse control, that, yeah, 110%, I'm going to buy it on the Switch 2. So, yeah, these, I don't really understand why these have been highlighted in here. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with regards to the release. Will it be one cart that will work in both consoles, and then they'll just isolate off the Switch 2 functions, or will it be two separate boxes? So this is your Switch box, this is your Switch 2 box. I think that is how to go. It'll be a Switch 2, a Switch and a Switch 2. It may even be, actually, thinking about it, it may even be that the Switch might be digital only. We don't know. So, yeah, we'll just have to see with that. And then I think that's about it. I think that's all. Yeah, we're then on to the Amazon page. So, yeah, we've pretty much gone through everything. So, yeah, as I say, I am... I'll be honest, during the Direct, I was really excited. And yeah, I was like, brilliant. We've got 2 months to wait, get the pre-orders in as soon as we can, and we're good to go. But after going through all the bits on the website, I'm a bit more hesitant, I have to be honest. So obviously, I will look to see if other retailers are going to be offering pre-orders. I'll be very surprised if the Switch 2 is a sort of My Nintendo exclusive and it's not sold elsewhere. I think that will be absolutely crazy for Nintendo to do that. But I will be keeping an eye online. I'm going to probably pop into my local game as well, find out if they're going to be getting any pre-orders in, and if so, then I'll go in and probably pre-order it in there. But yeah, I'm on the fence. I don't know whether I want to pre-order it or whether I want to wait, because between the concerns that I've got around the Joy-Cons and concerns around the physical carts and things like that, I don't know. I really don't know. I'll be honest, with regards to the physical carts, I don't think it's going to be as much of a big deal because they are talking sort of physical and digital. So, for example, when we go to, where are we here? So we've got digital and physical. And I'll be very surprised if they're going to charge us an extra, £8 to have an empty cart and a box. It's not outside the realms of possibility, but yeah, I don't know. I just, it's one thing. The more I talk to myself about this, the more I'm convincing myself to hold off and sort of wait for the release to see, because they could actually be casting physical as you've got a physical cart, but everything is going to be a game key cart. I don't know. I'm going to say watch this space. I will let you know. If I do pre-order it, I'll let you know. But at the moment, I'm probably sort of 60-40. 60% not pre-ordering, 40% pre-order. But if I get sort of faced with the ability to pre-order, am I going to be strong enough to say no? So yeah, we will see. Hopefully we'll get a bit more information coming out. I think what I'm going to do is, going forward, now that we've got the price and the date, I'm probably going to be paying a bit more attention to sort of some of the leaks that are coming out. Because prior to the Direct, I was actively avoiding leaks and sort of just trying to sort of... I wanted the Direct to be a surprise, whereas now I'm probably going to pay a bit more attention to the leaks, just so that we can see what... if I can get answers to these questions. But with that said, that is going to wrap up today's video. It's actually gone on a lot longer than I expected. So yeah, thank you for sticking with me. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Are you thinking about pre-ordering the Switch 2? What bits about it are you excited about? Have you got any concerns? But yeah, with that said, thank you so much for watching today. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're not already, smash that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all the new Switch news that I get hold of. And yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching today. Really hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you on the next one. All right, bye.